Today we're going to start off our episode a little bit differently. We're going to start off with the data pack already enabled, adding a new enchantment to the bow called Blast. I figured this is the best way to get and keep your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, miners and crafters of all ages, I give you Blast. A new way to get creeper holes. This thing is literally so much fun. Some might even say it's a blast. I know, really bad dad joke. But welcome back to Make It Worse. Okay, this thing is literally so cool. Oh, whoops, I missed. Literally so cool, and it works on every single arrow that I have. It doesn't matter if it's a regular arrow or a spectral arrow or a tipped arrow. All of them will have this blast effect. Uh-oh, horde of zombies incoming? No worries, I could just blow them all up. So what's the purpose of this, you may be asking? Well, stop. Don't ask any more questions. It's a bow that blows things up. What more could you want? It's literally one of the greatest things I've ever worked on. And I only have 5 arrows left. I should probably get infinity on a bow. That way, I could use this as much as I would like. So why don't we go ahead and get ourselves a new librarian villager, and hopefully we can get one that sells infinity. So we'll just use our handy dandy wand of stasis to get a villager up here, and then we'll just keep rolling your trades until we get infinity. And bada bing bada boom, we got ourselves an infinity enchanted book. Now let's go ahead and put infinity on our bow. Perfect. But not only is this bow enchantment good for taking on mobs, it's also extremely useful for mining. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the brightness mod so you guys can see. But as you can see, we're actually breaking through some of the stone. When the arrow is a direct hit on a block, then you'll see that it only takes out like 1 block at a time. So we can get like a singular tunnel, and sometimes it doesn't even break. I think it's just a discrepancy with the enchantment itself. Maybe the arrow slightly goes through the block, and so it's clipping into the middle and doesn't register the explosion expanding beyond that block, is what I'm thinking. And it's like the same reason why if you stand behind a block when there is an explosion, you'll actually take less damage. But if it hits the surface of a block, it actually does a little bit more of an explosion radius and will actually break a few blocks around it. But you also have to remember that whatever explosions there are will actually destroy the items too. So you see we have some items right here. Now we don't. Well, at least not the granite. We have cobblestone. But why don't we go ahead and head back up, and I will show you guys how to make this enchantment. Throughout the entire series, every time I've made any data pack changes, I have written them and had you guys follow along to see what I did to actually get the results of the data pack functionality. But in this case, I'm just going to show you what I did, and I'll just kind of explain what everything is doing. So I made a new blast.json file in our enchantment folder, and in that it has some familiar things such as the anvil cost, description, max cost, min cost, max level, slots, supported items, weights, and effects. Some of these things are pretty self-explanatory. The anvil cost, max cost, min cost, those all determine how many experience levels are required to actually utilize this enchantment. Description is the name of the enchantment. Max level determines that number at the very end of the enchantment, such as Fire Aspect 1 and Fire Aspect 2. But because this is a max level of 1, it's just going to appear as Blast. Similar to enchantments like Flame or Infinity or Mending, they all have a max level of 1, so it does not have a 1 at the end of its name. Slots determines what slot this enchantment's going to work in. For example, if you had it in your offhand, but offhand was not listed here, it would not work. But because this has main hand and offhand, it's going to work in either hand. Supported items is just going to be the enchanted bow, and weight determines how often this enchantment is going to appear in the enchanted table. Now effects is probably where I'm going to lose a lot of you, because this enchantment is very complicated. We have two different effects going on. We have Minecraft : hit _ block and Minecraft : post _ attack. Hit block is used for when the arrow for this enchantment hits a block, it will actually run the effect inside of these square brackets, and then post attack is what happens when this arrow hits a mob. So let's go ahead and open up the hit _ block and we can take a look at what's going on in here. When an arrow from this enchantment hits a block, we want to do multiple effects. The first of which is an explosion effect, which I'll get into in just a second. The second effect is a run function effect, which is the kill arrow function. And if we take a look at that kill arrow function, we have a new folder called function in our enchantments folder. And we have our function kill _ arrow, and all that does is kill at S. At S in this case refers to the arrow that's been shot. So when this arrow hits a block, what's going to happen is it's going to run the explode function and then kill the arrow. And let me actually show you why we want to kill the arrow. It's because if I have something like this, where I have a platform and then another platform below it, if I shoot the arrow there, as you saw, the arrow exploded this first platform, the arrow did not die, and then it fell down and blew up this section next. So without that kill arrow function, what we're going to end up having is something like this, where the arrow can just keep going down every single layer until it blows up everything in its path. So we are definitely going to want to kill this arrow as soon as it hits a block. Then we have the explode function. This takes a few different parameters. We have damage type, which we're setting to explosion because it's an explosion. But you could also set it to other damage types instead if you really wanted to. And there's actually a lot of different damage types that you can use, like if you fly into a wall, if you're freezing, if it's from a fall, if it's from an ender pearl, if it's from lava, lightning bolt, all these different options to use. But that also determines how the player can get protected from these explosions. For example, if I change this explosion to arrow, that means if somebody's wearing projectile protection, they actually will take less damage because the damage type is from an arrow. But because we're using explosion, I'm going to go ahead and set the damage type to explosion. Blast protection will be able to protect you from this, but it's an explosion, so explosion works. Next, we're doing attribute to user to true. This determines if this explosion should be attributed to the entity using the enchanted item. That way, for example, if this explosion hit a zombified piglin, it would actually attribute to the player shooting it, and the zombified piglins would actually get angry at the player shooting. Offset determines how this explosion will offset from the arrow. I just have it going half a block up. We set the block interaction to TNT, which will be like a TNT explosion. There's a couple options we could do for this. There's none, which has no effect. There's block, which is like a bed explosion. Mob, which is like a creeper explosion. TNT, like a TNT explosion. And trigger, which is like a wind charge explosion. We could also choose the large particle and the small particle that show up when this explosion happens. In this case, I have my large particle as explosion and my small particle as gust emitter small. We could determine the radius of the explosion and the knockback multiplier. Radius determines how big the explosion is. Knockback multiplier determines how far away mobs will get pushed. And then we can also determine what the sound that gets played when this explosion happens. There's other options we can do too. So if we go down here, we can do create fire set to true, and this will make fire surround it, similar to a bed explosion. And then we also can do immune blocks, which can take a list of different blocks that are actually immune to this. But for our intents and purposes, these are going to be our effects. Dropping down below the effect, we're going to set up our requirement. And what we want this requirement to be is that this entity properties condition for this needs to be a predicate for the type of arrows. And the reason we want to do this is because if it's not set to arrows, we could actually left click on a block and get an explosion happening, which is not ideal. So we only want to run these effects if the entity that is being used is an arrow. But that is going to conclude the hit block section. Now we're going to move on to post attack, and this one's a little bit easier to work with. Now for the post attack effect, we need to set up who the enchanted entity is and who the affected entity is. So in our case, because we are shooting an arrow, we are the attacker, So we should be the one that is enchanted, and then the affected one should be the victim. The effects are largely going to be the same. We're going to set our type, the damage type, the block interaction, which I have it set to mob right now. We're going to set that to TNT. We have our large particle, our small particle, knockback multiplier, our radius, and the sound. And again, the requirement requires the entity that is the direct attacker to be an arrow. Outside of all that, we're going to set up an exclusive set, and we're going to set that to #Minecraft:exclusive_set/arrow_effect. So in our Minecraft folder, in our tags, in our enchantment, in our exclusive_set, we're going to create a new JSON file, and this one's going to have Minecraft:flame enchantments:blast. That's because I don't want any bow to have both flame and blast on it, so they're going to be mutually exclusive. And lastly, in our enchanting table JSON, we're going to add blast to that list. So now we have reach, quick strike, and blast. Something I just realized is that I could use the Wand of Dimensions, a boat, some villager juice, and the Wand of Stasis to actually get out of this little hole in the nether. And we could use it to fly. Oh, okay. Maybe not. I seem to be stuck in something, which is weird because the Wand of Stasis should be pulling me out of it by now. Oh, because our boat lit on fire and broke. That's why we weren't flying anymore. Okay, so that didn't work. That didn't work. But we're on the surface now. Hey, how did I get up there? Why is there a staircase? I don't remember going up there. What the heck? Where did this come from? What? What? Wait, do I have a portal? Do I have a portal? Okay, this is gonna really hurt. Oh god! Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh baby, you guys saw that, right? You guys saw that? But I'm looking around in free cam and I'm not seeing a portal anywhere. So I'm having my doubts that there actually is one around here. But let's head back home and try that again. Let's actually see where that portal leads. Okay, so the boat thing worked, but only kind of worked. So we're gonna try it again. Now that we know what's going to happen when we do this. Right, so it breaks the boat, but we're up on the surface now. And what we can do, I think, we have a few seconds of fire resistance. We can make it a little bit safer for us to get out of here for the future, right? Okay, so we do something like that, right? Where we fill up all the little holes that the lava's pouring through so that we can dig a tunnel straight down through it. And now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to dig a little hole down. Wait, actually, is this leading into the... It doesn't even lead into the area I need it to. Oh, it's all the way back there. Wait, what the heck am I doing? Hold on. See how cool that is? See how cool that is? So I could just blow some of this up, right? And eventually, we can make our way down to our little entrance spot, which is down here. Perfect. Okay. So now we have a spot up and down. Okay. We're finally going to be able to make progress in the nether. But now I want to try getting up there because I want to see where that portal leads. I didn't even know there was a portal. I don't know how that portal got there. I have no idea where this came from. I don't remember building this. I don't remember putting this here. I don't know how the heck this even got here. Did I build a portal? I don't remember building a portal. But I mean, obviously there's one here with a staircase. Where does this go? Whoa! Oh gosh! Where am I? I did build a portal. How long? This is in my base. This is in my base. When did I make a portal? What the heck? Hold on. That's so crazy. When did I make that? What? This certainly does give me a lot of ideas, though, especially because we have the Wand of Stasis. If we go down this staircase, and we go ahead and hop into a boat, we could probably go ahead and take a quick test flight. And look, right over there I see some blackstone. That's probably a bastion over there. And so... Ooh, look at that! Okay, quick travel in the Nether is possible. And then we can just start blasting our way in if we wanted to. Now, while we're in here, I do want to be a little bit careful, because if I accidentally shoot a zombified piglin, I think that's going to be game over for me. But if one gets in the way, I could always grab them and suffocate them in a wall. Or better yet, let's see, what's down here? I'll just drop them. Easy peasy. While I'm here, I might as well do some bartering, too. I did bring some gold with me. It'd be really nice if we can get ourselves a dried ghast, because I think that would go a pretty long way. Whoops. Okay, hold on. We're not going to put you in there after all. Oh my gosh, they're just magma cubes everywhere. Hey, I'm sorry, buddy. That was not intentional, I promise. Okay, take 2. Action. And while waiting, I did notice that there is a Nether Fortress right over there that we could probably fly to in our magic boat. So once this guy's done, we'll definitely fly on over there and see what we can get, because I definitely would like to get ourselves some blaze rods. Oh, a second helper. Just gonna drop you down in there. Perfect. Double the fun. Double the magic. Okay, it sounds like they're done, so let's see what kind of goodies we picked up from them. We did get ourselves a dried ghast. That's pretty cash money. We also got quite a bit of fire resistance potions, which are much better than our villager juice potions. And with that, I think it's time we fly to the Nether Fortress and avoid the lava as we go. Oh, okay, that hurt. And immediately I can see all the way down there a blaze spawner. I'll just make my super duper ultra blaze farm setup. Here goes nothing. I'm going to drink this fire resistance potion just because it's probably going to be more helpful than not. And let's go ahead and do a little bit of this and break our way into here. Let's go ahead and layer these with some slabs. Okay, then we break this floor underneath them. So now, they should sink down here every once in a while, and I can just kill them from here. Now comes the tricky part, blocking up the top. This is so much easier when you have fire resistance, I'm noticing. Also, watch this. Ha-boom! That's the deadest guy alive. Okay, now, we can actually get some blaze rods pretty easily. There we go, we got our first one! I'm actually not sure how many blaze rods I want, but I do know that I would like to do some potion brewing, and I would like to go to the end at some point and get ourselves an elytra. After these last few blaze, I think I'm good to go, and I'll move on. There we go. They didn't even drop anything. Those stinking jerks. Ooh, we got ourselves some nether wart. That's something we need too. Yoink! And what do we got here? Ooh! Rib armor trim, and some gold swords, gold horse armor. Don't really care about that. But the rib armor trim's pretty decent. We got a wither skelly right here. Maybe we can get ourselves our first wither skeleton skull. Nope. Okay, well, I have gone up and down this Nether Fortress, and I think I'm going to call it here on this expedition. We did get nether wart, we did get blaze rods, and we did get the rib armor trim, which is very nice. But now I think it's time for us to head on home. And hopefully we're going to fly there safely. Ooh, nope. Oh, that could have been pretty bad. But there we go. We made it back to our magical staircase in the sky. Now let's head home, put our stuff away, and then we'll talk about whatever is going to be happening in the next episode. We did get ourselves a dried gas, which I definitely want to start hydrating. I think if I hydrate it in here, it runs the risk of suffocating in here too, trying to get it out. We did get the nether wart, so why don't we actually plant that real quick? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Get our nether wart. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. We did get for ourselves some blaze rods, which is really cool. And we also got some spectral arrows and the rib armor trim, which is super, super nice. And then it's raining currently, so we can go outside. But let's go ahead and plop down an area for this happy ghast to emerge from. We'll just put it right here for now. Ah, beautiful. Got that advancement too. So that was super duper cash money. We got quite a bit done today, which I'm very happy with. And in the next episode, hopefully we get even more done. And I think what we're going to do in the next episode is set up the charge wand, finally, because I have an idea for that. One of the things I've been thinking about is how to put channeling on a bow instead of on a trident. But channeling only works during a thunderstorm. So my plan is to make a charge wand that allows you to change the weather. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of Make It Worse. And if you're not following, please consider following me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and supporting me on Patreon, all at Curtis Does a Dig. And with that, I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a good one.